Hello friends, in this video tutorial, let us see the concept of SSAS KPIs. So for this purpose, let us go to this cube that we have developed in our earlier video tutorial. This is the same cube that we had developed in our last video tutorial. Now in this cube, let us go to the KPIs tab. Okay, so right now there are no KPIs present, right? So let us define a new KPI, but first of all let us see which are the measures, right? So there are two measures groups, right? Internet sales and reseller sales. So we will define KPIs based on reseller sales amount. Okay, so let us go to KPIs. Let us click new KPI. Now there are four parts to KPIs. Let us rename this reseller sales progress. So we will measure the progress of reseller sales using this KPI. Now there are actually four important parts to the KPI. Okay, so first is the value, which is the main value based on which you want to measure everything. So over here we will say that we want to measure everything based on reseller sales amount. Okay, what is the goal? Goal can be anything. Right now let us just write a sample value. Let's say real reseller sales amount plus 50 lakhs. Okay, so this is a sample value. Okay, now so that is the goal expression. This is the value and this is the goal. Third is status and fourth is trend. So these are the four important things for defining a KPI. You can still define a few more things like the time member, the weight and all. But right now let us focus on the first four things, that is value, goal, status and trend. So for status, let us again have the reseller sales amount. Now what we want to say in status is whether the status is good, whether the status is bad, or whether the status is okay. So for this, let us define a so this is a case statement that we have written. Okay, so what we want to say is if the reseller sales amount, okay, if the reseller sales amount, let's say, is greater than 2 crore, so it is 2 crores. Okay, so if the reseller sales amount is greater than 2 crore, then we are fine with it. We will term that status as good, represented by 1. If the same reseller sales amount, let's say if it is less than 2 crore, then let us say that this sales amount is not good, so it is -1, represented by -1, and else it is 0. Okay, so we can check the syntax also. Syntax is okay. Now in the same way, let us define trend. What is trend? Trend means comparison with the past values, whether the value is increasing or whether the value is decreasing, right? So we want, so let us have a case statement over here also. Then it is 1, when something happens then it is -1, else it's 0, and okay, so this is a simple case statement that you have written. Now 1 will indicate increasing trend, -1 will indicate decreasing trend, and 0 will indicate linear trend, that is something which remains constant, the trend which remains constant. So let us define that if the reseller sales amount, okay, is for this we'll have to consider the previous value, okay, previous year's sales amount value. So we are putting a comma in between, and then over here we will say that due dates calendar year, okay, dot PREVMEMBER, previous member. That is, if the reseller sales amount for the previous year, okay, is if let's say it is less than the current reseller sales amount, okay. So if the previous year's amount was less than the current year's amount, that means we have increased the sales, right? So that will indicate by +1. Now let us copy this, right? Let us copy this, okay, and let us paste it over here. And if the previous year's sales amount was greater than the current year's sales amount, that is current year's sales amount has reduced, then we will indicate as -1, that is the trend is decreasing, else it's 0. If it remains the same, then it's 0, right? So again, let us check the syntax. The syntax is successful. Let us save everything. Let us deploy. Okay, so we are deploying this KPI. Okay, now let us go to Q browser. Let us reconnect. Now first of all, let us just observe the values. First of all, let us have reseller sales amount across the years. Okay, so let us go to calendar year and let us observe what is happening in the values. So for the first year, it is around 80 lakh. So it is less than 2 crore value that you have specified in the KPI, right? It's less than 2 crore. Okay. For the second year, it is greater than 2 crore, as it is 241 lakh, that is 2 crore and 41 lakhs. For the third year, it is 3 crore and 22 lakhs. So these two values are positive when compared to 2 crores, and the first and the last value are negative because this is 1 crore and 60 lakhs. So first and last value are less than 2 crore, whereas the middle two values are greater than 2 crore. Okay, so the status is, so as per this case statement, the status will be positive for the negative for the first and the last rows, and will be positive for the second and third rows. Similarly, for trend, now this value has increased. For 2009, value has increased, so it should be +1. For 2010, the value has increased, so it should be +1. But for 2011, the value has decreased, so the value should be -1, right? So let us now save everything. Let us now get the KPI. Okay, we can also view only the KPI value. We can drag and drop the KPI, so it shows the actual value. It shows the goal. Okay, it is +50 lakhs. Okay, and then it shows 1 because there is it doesn't compare this data with any previous year, right? Now if we add calendar year to it, then we can have all these comparisons. So we have the years over here, we have the actual values, all 4 values of sales over here. Then goal is nothing, just we have added a dummy value, sample value +50 lakhs. Okay, but over here it is very important. See, the status and the trend. The status is negative for first and last rows, and it is positive for second and third rows, as we had discussed earlier. Similarly, for the first 3 years, the trend is increasing, and for the last year, the trend is decreasing as the sales have reduced. So this is exactly as we wanted, right? Now the important thing over here is, in this browser, which is like a development environment, we don't see these things, like let's say we have these shapes, right, and the arrow marks. So we don't see such things over here because the GUI over here doesn't support it. But we can view all these things, that is, we can view the shapes, that is, these indications, these values in terms of shapes and arrow marks, if we go to a rich browser. Okay, so Excel is a kind of rich browser. So let us view this cube in Excel. Let us enable it. So now if we go to KPIs, see the KPIs are now added, okay, because we had deployed the cube. So let us add these 4 things. So we can see the values. These are all summary values for all the years combined together. And if we add the year, let's say we go here, this is the calendar year, let us add it at rows, right? So now we can see all the 4 years, their corresponding sales values, right? The goal values, which are nothing but just 50 lakhs plus the sales values, 50 lakhs added to the sales values. And over here the important things, our KPIs are showing in as per the signs that we had indicated, right? So the first and the last row are negative because they are less than 2 crore, and middle 2 rows, second and third rows, are positive because they are more than 2 crore as per the status. And for the trend, we can see that the first, second and third year is showing increasing trend, whereas the last year, as the sales has reduced, it is showing decreasing trend. Okay, so I hope friends this video tutorial on SSAS KPIs is useful to you. Thank you.